And I think so. Yeah. Just call.
No. Chairman. I don't want to interrupt. So, parece que llegó una email. No, to who's this? Yes.
Not on. It is 5:07, I'm calling this GBIC meeting to order. Roll call.
Roll call. Chairman Anker Jensen.
Present.
Vice Chairman Dr. Joe Hinojosa. Treasurer Gerardo Gonzalez.
Present.
Secretary Liliana Elizondo.
Present.
Board Member Frank Orozco Jr. Board Member Ana O'Quinn. Board Member Benjamin Peña.
Here.
And for the record, Board Member Frank Orozco Jr. is not present.
Did he call in, Frank?
Probably arriving late.
Okay, so, well, let's just continue. We got a phone.
Next item, public comment period. There was not any comment registered, Chairman. I would like to officially state for the record that we will be moving out of sequence from our agenda. We will now proceed with the executive session items first. Closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071 and 551.072 and 551.087 related to the project industrial.
Okay, I need a motion to go to executive.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it going into executive section, sorry.
Chairman, we have some other items that I need to read out.
Sorry?
I have two other items that I need to read out.
Okay. Go for it, go for it.
Closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071 and 551.072, related to the Executive Director, CEO. And I would also like to officially state for the record that item 3, discussion, consideration, and approval of performance agreement for training tuition fund totaling $600,000 from the Texas Southmost College will be moved from open session to executive session for discussion.
Do we need a motion to approve
Yes.
that?
Yes,
You all heard it?
For
I
the-
need a motion.
I think we need to rescind the previous motion and make a new motion.
Okay, do we need a motion to
So we,
rescind?
yeah, a motion and a second to,
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, the motion is rescinded. I need a motion to accept.
Motion to go into executive session.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, we're going to executive session. Thank you, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, I think we're all back. We still got a quorum. Gerardo left us. He has something to do.
Had a funeral to go.
Uh,
Had a funeral.
Oh, he didn't know before he got here. Okay. Can I have a motion to reconvene?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We are convened. Next item.
Next item, consideration and action, if any, including but not limited to the adoption of board resolutions related to the item discussed in executive session.
At this point, no action taken in executive.
Do we need a motion to, is there no action? No. Okay, no action taken.
Next item, consideration and action, if any, on the following items. Approval of the minutes of special workshop and regular board meetings. A, regular May 16, 2024. B, regular June 3rd, 2024. B, acknowledgement regarding the payment of vendor services invoice to the Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation for the month of June 2024.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Everybody agree the way they're written? Payments, everything's okay? Okay. In that case, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. None, the ayes have it. The motion passes.
Next item, staff report. Business retention and expansion and workforce development efforts. Marketing and communication strategic efforts. Business recruitment, events, and sponsorships.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be back after a month or so. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a little update on my BRE visits and workforce training, and then just some events that I've attended in the past couple weeks. I visited about a total of 8 different employers, one of them being Rich Products. An update on them, they have officially started their training with TEACS, Texas A&M TEACS, as of today. So they're starting with a group of 12 supervisors, and they're going to be doing the basics of lean workshop. So as they continue with the training, I'll be visiting them and checking in on them to see, how the training's going. And then from there, once they're done with that basic lean workshop, we're going to look at reviewing additional training so they can continue to do that with Texas A&M. I also introduced GBIC to the director of Brownsville ISD ACE program. So they have about 40 employees at GBIC, as I mentioned prior to this meeting. And one of the things they want to do is elevate their employees with ESL classes, right? So a lot of them, struggle in that area, and they weren't aware of the ACE program. So that's a partnership that, is going to, yes, sir.
What classes?
ESL, so they're going to learn English.
As a second language.
Second language, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I apologize. So that's definitely something that's in the works with GBIC and ACE. I went and visited Standard Mold as well. Texas A&M took 2 of the certifications for these two employees as they took problem solving to start off with the trainings. We're looking at doing additional training with them as well. So they're going to see how the additional 2 that signed up for the training do, and see if the supervisors like it to move forward with additional on that area. In my last meeting, I had mentioned that Carling Technologies was going to have a lunch appreciation for their employees. Just to remind you all, Carling Technologies will be closing by the end of the year. So part of our supporting efforts with them is we attended this lunch. I was able to meet with those 15 employees that were let go July 3rd. After those 15 were let go, they're left with about 35 employees still. And so as they move forward, I'm meeting with them so that they can share their resumes, their experience, and just see if they want to continue to work in the industry, right? And if so, then, I send these resumes out to employers that are interested and have openings for them. So I received a few of the resumes. The other half of the employees, are taking some time off. These are employees have been there for 25 years. To be honest, most of them. I was very surprised. 25 years and up, and it was just exciting to be there to support them. They were excited about the merch, those hats. They were just very proud of, wearing those hats. So it was just a surreal moment for us to be able to, make their day, even though that we know that they're not going to be working there for much longer. And just lastly, we distributed certificates for the volunteers that we had from Youth Build for Space Fest. Just, a little appreciation. It was a very long event, and so a lot of them, stuck to the end, and we just wanted to give them a little appreciation. Next slide, please. One of the events that Salvador and I attended was the TDC mid-year conference, and part of the reason why was because we were nominated for the Workforce Award for Rally in the Valley specifically. So we were able to attend and represent our organization. And while we were there, we were able to also, attend sessions and just network with other people in the economic development field. So thank you for the opportunity for us, attending. It was a beautiful, beautiful event, and, we hope to attend next year. And then Bechtel ribbon cutting. So just to, fill you guys in on the Bechtel ribbon cutting, they've opened their office here in Bronzo, and we were able to attend that ribbon cutting. And part of that was after the ribbon cutting, they had a hiring event that started about 2 hours after the ribbon cutting. So just so you have a perspective, the ribbon cutting was at 10 in the morning, and this hiring event was after 1. There was people already lined up outside to wait for interviews. And so I requested some information just so that I could share with you all, and 700 applicants attended the day of. So I wasn't able to get additional information just because, they're still processing to see, how many people are being hired, what positions and things like that. But 700 is an impressive number, and, we're excited to at least, have them have an office, and so they can filter out those employees. The office is beautiful. They have everything they need to basically, once the employee leaves out of that office, they're ready to go. They've already done their testing, their drug testing, background, everything. They just go to the site and start working. So.
Did you find out from them of like those 700, if they're getting all, like once they've processed them, if like what they see the need is from that, talking about training and, are these people applying even though they're not qualified?
Yes.
Like that.
And yeah, and I will request that information for the next board meeting. Monica was, what she told me is they're still going through, 700 is a lot, right? So it's a lot of reporting they have to do, but I'll definitely report back to you all next board meeting.
Or whenever they have it, no rush.
Okay. And the food bank at RGV, Empty Bowls and Lemonade Days, those are events that we sponsored, that we were able to attend as well. Lemonade Day was a beautiful event that Alexa and Marlene were actually judges of the lemonades the day of the ribbon cutting, so it was a really cool experience. They were sugared out by the end of the event, but they tasted over 12 lemonades. But it was just beautiful to see the young kids, from ages 3 to all the way to 12, learn about how to become an entrepreneur and open up their business, and being able to complete those lessons, and at the end of the day have their business and be successful in selling lemonade. I know Liliana, had seen a couple of pictures of my son. He actually participated on the weekend, and he was just excited, super excited. A lot of kids are really interested in continuing that next year, so we hope to continue to support them on that. And lastly, the LNG Expert Engineer in Construction, Eliasar, myself, and Alexa were able to attend that, and also support our colleagues from LNG. They spoke beautifully of our city and how they're doing a very good job in using those partnerships to ensure that everyone's well educated on the project, on the workforce needs, and everything that they've received in support from Bronzo. So thank you again for allowing us to attend. Any questions? Thank you.
Next item, Marketing and Communication Strategic Efforts by Alexa Perez.
Lord, I'm not that tall. Good afternoon, board members.
So today, I'm gonna talk about a few of the priority projects that we currently have, and then a little bit of, to inform you about a big one that is coming. Well, actually, we have like 3 big ones coming, but, so the first one, of course, it would be the website. As you know, we were a little bit stuck in the past with the previous agency that we had. Fortunately, we were able to get new proposals from new marketing agencies. We did it, well, let me correct myself. Those are not marketing agencies. Those are website development agencies. So we did evaluate, I showed these proposals to Jerry. We evaluated 3 of them. We already had a first meeting with one of them, which we believe that is, I honestly believe that is the best one to go. And we selected that one, and we're gonna start the official kickoff meeting on Monday, this Monday, July 22nd. And let me just tell you a little bit of a comparison. The current company that we have, they charge significantly less, resulting in a 97.27% cost reduction compared to the previous company that we had. So this means that the previous company was charging 36.67 times more. It was more expensive, of course, than the new one that we received. In case that all of you want to see those proposals, I have them right here with me, so I can give you a copy to each of you. Then the second one is, of course, the advertising, which we know that is a priority to put our name out there. So we already received some proposals, of course, from media, saying Telemundo, KBO 23, Channel 4, Channel 5, NBC News, Big Book, and others. As of now, we're already working on the pre-launching items, which means that we're working, of course, on the videos, the promo spots, the website, because we don't want for them to click on either social media or on the QR code and go to a website that has information that is not up to date. So that's why it's one of my priorities to have all of that updated with the new things that in the new programs that we've been working on. And for example, as an example, we currently have Pet of the Week. We're gonna be putting spots online and also some applications like Hulu, HBO, Peacock, Amazon Prime as well. And the idea is to target the RGB to let them know that GBIC is the one-stop shop to come here and invest in Brownsville, right? That's, for example, the message that we'll be promoting in the RGB. But if, I don't know, you or Jerry tell us, you know what, the next target area will be Monterey, it will be, I don't know, Austin, any other place, then of course the messaging is gonna change to promote then Brownsville, and then to let them know that the contact to come and invest in Brownsville, it is GBIC, right? So we're currently working on that. That's why we haven't launched those videos. But let me tell you another example is that, for example, with Pet of the Week is that one of the strategies that I want to implement to be a more community-focused and innovative organization is to be more involved with the community. I think we've been a little bit separated from them during the past years, and I think we currently, and now with Jerry as our leader, we'll be doing a great job in doing more sponsorships and being more involved in all of those events. And one of the contracts that one of the agreements that we want to do with Channel, we are doing actually with Channel 4 is that they're going to be putting 75 spots of GBIC every month. But also they are going to be putting our logo when they promote the Pet of the Week from Bark, Bark that is owned, the shelter that is owned by the city. So when they promote it, they're going to put a logo, and then they're going to put that those pets are sponsored by GBIC. And I came up with this idea. Jerry loved it, and I think all of us loved it. We found these bandanas that says "Adopt Me," and it says at the bottom, positively sponsored by GBIC, by Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation. So the idea, I'm having the meeting on Monday with Dr. Cowell, the director, is that every time that they take a dog to the studio, they will be wearing these bandanas, and once they get adopted, they will be wearing the bandanas and they will be tagging us. And as I say, this is a strategy to be part of so the community can actually see us and they know that we're close to them, that we are here to support them. Next slide, Marlene, please. The third big item that we have are the billboards. So we already received the list from all of the ones in the Rio Grande Valley. We completed the selection process, which is actually one of the items that are today for consideration. And we also received the one for Monterey, all of the billboards in Monterey. However, we're going to be going in August, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to be traveling over there just to make the final selection. because it's a little bit hard and to see which ones to select just through a digital map. I think it's better if we go and see the industrial areas and this trip is not for the billboards, it's for an actual event that we have, Eleazar and Jerry have, so they're gonna be taking me so we can see just those locations. So by August, we should have finalized the selection of the billboards in Monterrey. And then for community events, we have two big ones. One is a big international economic development initiative that Giovanna and myself were working on it. We're gonna be presenting more details in the next board meeting once everything is official, but we're setting up the date, venues, and a lot of really cool surprises. And then the other one is Careers and Coffee. Yes.
You're talking about billboards, advertising and stuff like that. I noticed that when anybody else around Mission, McAllen, Harlingen, fix a pothole in the roads, they're in the news. We do big stuff here. We build buildings. We have warehousing going up. We do some real sustainable stuff. And I don't see us in the news. What can we do about getting our name in the newspapers and on the news? We are doing much, much more than anybody else around.
We're actually doing, so far, we have sent around 10, 11 press releases to the news. And every time we send a press release, we've been shared. So those, since I started working here, right? Those press releases has been shared. They have wrote the articles and they have covered that not only on news, but also online, either on Valley Central, margb.com. I mean, I've been in contact with Mr. Steve Clark, Steve Taylor, some other like Orlando Gutierrez from Channel 4, you know, those are those relationships that we've been building. So yes, every time that we share, so far, they've been sharing those as well. So, I mean, and sometimes it doesn't depend on us, right? It depends on the news desk, because at the end of the day, they have a boss which decides what are the news that are going to be out each of those days. But I've had those conversations with them. So what else can we do is to continue getting these type of media packages, which we didn't have in the past. So the first one that we signed with Channel 4 is the first one. And then the next board meeting, I'll bring you in. Hopefully we'll already have the one for Channel 5 and the one with Telemundo. And if all of you agree, I think it will be a great idea to also sign one with Multimedios, which is the one in Monterrey, is the main one in Monterrey. So,
Can you tell us more about billboards, like why you want to do billboards? How long is this contract? Just so we
and
understand.
they actually have all of those on the, I don't
For
know.
the item?
Yeah, yes, on the item. But I think, so one of the things that I have seen in my experience is that when we do advertising, when it comes about physical advertising, the one that I have seen that is more successful is usually the billboards because they get more impressions and is, I wouldn't say most cost effective because they do cost, of course. However, you get the best ROI from them. And then the campaign that now that I'm proposing and that I'm gonna show you, it's for 6 months. Just let's take a look. Let's say which ones are working because I selected 5. And let's see which ones are working. And if some of them doesn't work, we're not tied with them for a year or 2 years. We can move around. And also because those are specifically on areas where we see that our target audience will be there, right? So if you see, when we post something on social media, we're not competing against other companies here. We're not trying to get the attention from the people against other businesses here, which let's say can be 1,000. When we post something on social media, we're competing against billions of businesses and billions of ads. That's the thing, because we're not competing against local, but we're competing against worldwide, because everyone is on social media. So that's why I'm proposing something that is more physical, something that when we are there, when you are driving, you are competing, not competing, right, because you need to look at the road, but you have 2 points of attention, where you have at your right or your left, and the middle, which is the road. So that's why we have seen that it works more to catch the attention of the driver. If you ask me, that's the main one. And also, I'm not proposing, and I'm not gonna propose unless all of you want to put another type of print and advertising, because I noticed that the one that is gonna work more, especially for GBIC, it's gonna be the billboards, and that's it. That one, and of course, media, because we need to be out there, and we need to promote the brand, of course. And now, in regards to the places of the billboard, that will depend on the expansion areas that the recruitment program, either led by Jerry or by the new CEO that is gonna come, whatever they choose. Either they choose to go and promote GBIC at Guadalajara, Mexico, Monterrey, I don't know, Austin, other those areas. In those areas, whenever they tell me, we can go ahead and look for those locations. But for now, I think we're missing a lot of brand awareness here in the Valley. They need to know that, I mean, that GBIC is a place to go for industrial real estate. GBIC is a place to go for job creation, for workforce development, or if they're just a new businesses, or that they just want to expand or relocate. That would be the main one. And that's it. And actually, because with the billboards compared to social media or others, they stay there all the time. And we're looking for permanent billboards. That means that they are printed and they are not on digital. There's just one that I'm proposing that is digital because unfortunately in Bronzeville, some of them were already occupied and we already had 3 available, which one of them was not in a target location, but 2 of them were actually in a target location. And since they are permanent, I mean, as I said, it's easy for the people to catch the attention of the community. Mhm. And
What are we looking at cost-wise, and have we got room in the budget for stuff like that?
it's everything on the budget, actually. For the billboard, we budgeted $35,000 this year, and we haven't spent anything.
Okay, good.
Mhm. And the fifth project that I'm currently working is an interactive experience at the airport, which I'm going to provide you more details. Next slide, Marlene, please. So on March 20th, I had a meeting with the airport leadership, in this case with Mr. Angel Ramos and with Ms. Lorena Cardona. The idea was to create a brand experience there. They told us that they had an empty concession space that they are not planning to use at least for the next 2 to 3 years. And instead of having it empty, we could either use it, I don't know, put a mural there or put anything that we would like to do, right? So what we decided, if you go to the next slide, Marlene, please, is that why not create a business interactive experience there where we could put our brand and we can make our visitors to feel welcome and also show that Bronzeville is a forward-thinking community. It's a family-friendly community. So around April, we started looking for some mood boards and we started drafting some concepts. Actually, we drafted at the end 2 concepts. And I met with some experiential marketing companies at an experiential marketing summit that I attended back in April. So we decided this, as I say, everything has been in collaboration with the airport because we need to follow the rules. So Lorena and I decided that maybe we could do a kids port and a business, right? Which is the children's playground and a business area. That was back in May. In April. So then by May, if you want to go to the next slide, Marlene. Okay, so, well, actually, these are the 2 concepts that we created. One is to create a business area in which it could be actual interactive. We want for also the business and all the investors that are coming here to feel welcome by us. In this case, we will be using the colors of our brand, which is the red and the blue, but also we're joining and we're collaborating with the airport by using, of course, the blue because that's also their brand color. If you go to the next slide, Marlene, we're also going to do it, as I say, interactive. So we're planning to have something either like walls, some type of games in which when they are there, they can either be sitting or they can be exploring the areas that we have. Even why not, we can even include a vending machine there where we can have some of our merch, either, I don't know, backpack, notepads, mugs, T-shirts. It will be something really new that at least any of the airports right here in the Valley has something like that. So for us, I think it's a really good opportunity to be the first ones. And as I say, this is a drafting concept. I'm still not requesting the approval, right? But I want to inform you about this one because that request is coming hopefully in the next board meeting. If you go to the next slide, Marlene. Now, the concept that we crafted, that we designed for the kids area is inspired by the 5 methods of transportation, having something that is related with the railroad, having something that is related with the highway. And then if you go to the next slide, something that is related with the space exploration, with the Port of Bronzeville, and of course, with the airport. Now, the next steps, of course, in this one, next slide, Marlene, please. As I said, in May, let me going a little bit back. In May, we finalized the mood boards. We search for better companies that will do it. And then we noticed, and we were informed that BCIC will be awarding $86,000 to the airport to continue with to do a children's playground, right? So that's why in June, we had a meeting with the airport with Mr. Angel Ramos and with Ms. Lorena Cardona. And we, of course, asked them if they still wanted us to continue moving forward with the project or if they just wanted for us to do the business area. So they told us that they prefer, of course, to combine efforts and combine their budget with our budget, and that way we will be doing something much bigger. Of course, we agree. We were very excited for that, and we just didn't want to say no to that. So Lorena and I, we started meeting with some experiential marketing companies. We did realize that there's one that it's amazing. They have experience doing all of this, and we met them actually at one of these experiential marketing summits, and I think and they think that they are the ones that have all of the insurance policies that they need, and they are aligned with the FW8 regulations, in which once we come and present, I know they can explain a little bit more about that, right? So now, what are the next steps in this? The next slide is that, so first, as we were informed by the legal department, by Will, that we will need to draft and finalize an MOU between us and the airport. Of course, we will be presenting 3 proposals for you to review. And then after that, we will be requesting the approval for a $164,000 contract with the selected company. Now, if you ask me about the funds, all of this is in the marketing budget. We budgeted $164,000 to create a brand experience within the community, and we haven't spent it. So that's why we're presenting. This is not to do a budget amendment or to request or moving around money. Everything is in the marketing budget. And in the next meeting, or I can send it to you by email, I can send you the spreadsheet of the things that we have, what we have spent, and how all of this is incorporated. And we're not requesting for any change in the budget to move forward with this project. So this is mainly an informative presentation that I'm requested. Of course, I'm required to do prior bringing all of the final and complete project. And all of this is draft, as I say, all of this is a draft concept. We can make changes, and because we haven't even signed the official contract, of course. Any questions so far?
I think that's great. I think it does 2 things. It's for the community, and then it also, hopefully when we get people coming, they're coming by airplane to Brownsville, right? And they'll see it. And so they'll see like, wow, GBIC knows what they're doing. They've gone as far as beautifying their own airport. So I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
And a really good point that I want to mention is that, for example, the company, I'm going to be very open with you. We currently have the company called Hamilton. They have over 30 years of experience doing all of this. What they told us is that they can do everything, how would I say, like transferable. So they will build everything at their warehouse because they have everything, the design, architects, everything over there. They will bring it here. They will build all of that. And then if we need to move it, we will move it. Why? Because Mr. Ramos and Ms. Cardona, they inform us that in approximately a couple of years, they might be either expanding or changing a couple of things at the airport. So how this is going to affect us? We don't want for this to be a wasted money, right? So the idea is to be able to just transfer all that to the new location that they provide to us. So none of this will be wasted, and none of this will be like constructed inside. All of that will be like things that you can just put and remove.
I guess that was my question, in case you're making a long-term investment, but like you said, you're not signing or getting ready to move on this. But my other question is, I know that you said it's in the airport, so I'm just thinking out loud, who would maintain it? Who's in charge of maintaining the daily upkeep?
The airport operations team will help us with all of that.
And they would, at their expense?
I think that's a good question, and to be honest, I can provide you more information than the next
We
one.
can put that into the MOU.
We can put that in the MOU, correct?
Well, I think that's important to know. I mean, I know it says build it and they will come, but build it and who will maintain it? So it's an important question, so please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Oquin. Thank you so much, and of course, I'll make sure that we include all of that in the MOU, and I'll bring any answer for that, for the next one. And for the next one, of course, Mr. Ramos and Ms. Cardona, they will be present.
I think on the digital boards, I don't think, was there any action or you were just informing?
That's after we finish the presentations, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yes, okay.
Okay.
It's a little bit different, the order, but yes.
Okay, so I can ask my question there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, first, thank you.
It's coming.
Next item, business recruitment by Jerry Briones.
Thank you. So this last month, we had 20 inquiries. We had 9 state RFIs that came through. We didn't respond to any of them. The reasons are different, of course. Most of them had immediate start dates. They were like, you know what, we want to do the initial site visit in June. We want to be up and running by the end of 2024. So there was just no way that we could meet some of them. They also had high power requirements, and there were several that were not fully funded. So I didn't want to proceed any further with those. On general inquiries from Mexico and the U.S., we had 8. We're still in discussion with most of those. We've got about 4 inquiries from Mexico so far. And in fact, one today was a gentleman that purchased 5 acres out by the airport that they want to develop into some warehousing space. So that looks pretty good. I introduced him to Angel over at the airport because that might be an opportunity for them to do something there as well. I was in Washington, D.C. a couple of weeks ago for Select USA. I met with several companies from Romania. We're still in discussion, but there is one that wants to build, and I discussed this with the chairman when we meet weekly, is a company that builds golf cart size electric vehicles for like institutional, it can be used at universities, it can be used for, and they're electric, and it doesn't require a motor like a Tesla. The motor is actually built into the rotors, the brakes, everything is designed in there, and the vehicle sells for about $18,000. So they're looking for a place. The batteries are reusable, and all you do is that battery runs out, you pull it, and you push another one in, and you keep going. So it's really interesting. And then we had a couple other companies as well from Romania. They sent me an email yesterday. They would like for us to also entertain doing a sister city agreement between Brownsville and Constanza, which is a coastal community that looks very much like like Port Isabel, like the island actually, South Padre Island. And they sent me some real nice pictures, so I'll be bringing that to the board here in a couple of weeks or so. Of the 20 inquiries, there was 2 that I sent over to the Port of Brownsville, which just seemed to fit a lot better over with them. I also attended Team Texas conference up in Washington, D.C. We have a list pending, but everybody that attended through Team Texas, and there was probably about 20, 25 communities at this event, which was Select USA as well. We must have had, I'm not kidding you, we had a portfolio about this thick of inquiries. Because we are there with Team Texas, we cannot wear our GBIC logos. It's all Team Texas logos through the governor's office. But the good thing is, and we should get that in a week or 2, is everyone that attends gets a complete list of all the inquiries that came through there. And there was some that I wish I could have given them my business card, but I couldn't. But I think we've got some good leads that we're going to be able to cherry pick out of that list once we get it. I'm thinking it's probably going to be over 100 leads by the time we're done. So next. We also attended with the city of Brownsville. We attended the RGV2 DC legislative session trip with the RGV partnership. It was myself, the mayor, Ms. Helen Ramirez, Roger Chanes, Ms. O'Quinn. Thank you so much. She attended with us and sat in a lot of the events that we went to. We met with Senator Ted Cruz, with some representatives, Colin Allred. We met with staff from Senator Cornyn's office as well. It was very informative. The two main topics that the city of Brownsville was there for was, one, utilities, and secondly, water. I say we, but the delegation really wants the federal government to enforce the 1944 Water Treaty. We're owed millions of hectares of water that Mexico is not releasing. And one of the things that they're looking at doing is holding back some appropriation funding from Mexico to try to get them to get off their chairs. The picture below is with Team Texas. Those were some of the people that were there. We're all from different communities. We're all from different parts of the state. Ms. Adriana Cruz in the blue represents the governor's office. So she kind of brought up that we were looking for a CEO, and she said, hey, if I have anyone that might be interested, can I send them to you? I said, sure. She hasn't sent me anything yet, so it's already closed. And obviously, we had some banners up that all the different number ones that Texas is number one in. On the events and sponsorships, thank you. Again, we did attend. Thank you, Giovanna and Sal, for attending the TEDC Workforce Award. That was for Rally in the Valley that Carla started and finished just before she left. Alexa drew up the application, and it was a very, very strong application, and we were very lucky to come out ahead in that scenario. And that was in competition with all the EDOs in the state. So it was a big deal, as Giovanna mentioned. And again, we attended Select USA. We provided a $15,000 sponsorship to the Games of Texas. Thank you, Chairman Anker, for being there and doing the check presentation, as well as we provided a scholarship fund to Mr. and I'm going to screw this up, Mr. Fouki, a student from STARS Aerospace Academy. He's going to be attending the Rice University's Starship Academy, which is a great honor for him and actually for us as well. And that was some of the pictures we took over at MDC with the legislative trip as well. Yesterday, we attended a staff training. We're looking at doing more of this. So thank you to Ms. O'Quinn. She provided us with the name of a highly recommended lady, Ms. Nikki Hodgson. We worked on some public speaking and presentation skills. I think it did us a world of good, at least it did me, and I'm hoping some of it will show in the next couple of board meetings, but maybe not just yet, but in the next couple of weeks, we're hoping. We also provided a $10,000 grant or sponsorship to Commissioner Dr. Rose Gowen and City Parks for the purchase of a Dignity trailer. The Dignity trailer, and actually we gave 10,000, BCIC had given 10,000, and the trailer is just over $200,000, and they've already gotten about 150,000 in contributions. But the trailer is to be able to provide wheelchair-bound individuals with a safe and private environment when they need to go to the restroom, for whether it's a change of clothes or whether it's just the privacy to be able to use the restroom without having to worry about a porta potty or anything of those things. I really thought that was a really great thing, and we did provide that sponsorship to Dr. Gowen. We also wrote up a letter of support to Cameron County Workforce Solutions for Bechtel being nominated as the largest employer of the year for 2024 as well. Any questions?
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, sir.
Oh,
So the gentleman from, I'm sorry, the gentleman from Brownsville PUB left. So he will not be doing the presentation unless you would like me to go
Which
through
one
the
is
slides.
Presentation on what, Jerry?
He was doing a presentation. Go to the next. A drought update.
Okay.
Um, The gentleman from
left
PUB
the
had to leave, so he left.
Okay, so that's, we are not going to listen to that then.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure it was captivating.
It should be in your packets if you want to,
I heard it the other day, and so did Ben.
yeah,
And basically, we need to conserve water.
we do. We're in stage 2. We're very close to being in stage 3 with, I think, the dams hitting 17% or 15%.
Stop going to the car wash.
Conserve water.
Conserve water, yes.
They're gonna force you to use less water by punishing you.
They are, yes. They will surcharge you heavily.
That count, car washes like the other.
Yeah, those, they will turn them off.
No, the car washes reuse their water. Right,
Oh,
Ben?
they do? Okay,
Yeah, they
I don't feel bad when I go.
Reclaimed water, go every day.
My kids in the pay.
Just take all the
Yeah.
energy that we need for our park.
All right, guys, next.
Yes, sir.
Next item, discussion, consideration, and acknowledgement of Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation financials and quarterly investment report by Salvador Villapando.
Good afternoon, board members. Tonight we'll be going over the financials through 9 months. So that's through the month of June 2024. On this slide here, we'll be highlighting our total net position. So it's currently at 40.1 million. One thing I wanted to stress is that doesn't necessarily translate to having 40.1 million readily available. So it's broken down into 3 categories. 13.8 million is invested in capital assets. And then we have 26.4 between designated and undesignated funds. So 23.4 is in undesignated net position, meaning you can utilize that for your operating needs, anything you feel that the board wants to move forward with. And then 3 million is designated as per contractual agreements. And then lastly, we have 40.3 million in assets and then 196,000 in liabilities. So the difference between that translates to our total net position of 40.1 million.
No, we ask this, I think, every time. The receivables are the incoming sales tax for the fall, for the.
That's correct. So the assets do include 581,000 in receivables, and that's sales tax for 2 months. So basically, for the month of May, the sales tax is remitted from the comptroller to the city. Then the city gives us our cut of the sales tax. So that's the receivable from the city to GBIC. On this slide here, we'll highlight the actuals through 9 months. It's the second column. Through June, we have 6.2 million in revenues, mainly coming from sales tax at 5.1 million. We have 956,000 in interest. We also have 170,000 for a gain on sale of land. That was lot 3 of the North Bronzeville Industrial Park, 17,000 in sponsorships, and 400 in miscellaneous revenues. Our expenditures are currently at 3.2 million. 1.7 is coming from operating, 1 million in incentive expenditures, and lastly, 404,000 in strategic initiatives, which are mostly coming from the industrial park. So that's translating to a total surplus of 3 million. I did work on some calculations which take into account our actuals through 9 months, and then what I'm foreseeing for the last 3 months of the fiscal year. So I'm projecting that we're going to end the year at a surplus of 2.7 million. So just as a number to work with, we'll be ending the year at a pretty large surplus. So on this slide here, we have a sales tax comparison. I highlighted 2 months. At the last board meeting, we didn't have these sales tax numbers for April, but I did want to highlight the activity for that month. In April, we had an increase of 93,000, which translates to a 17% increase. In May, we did have a decrease of about 10%, a $64,000 decrease compared to May of the previous fiscal year. With that being said, through the first 6 months of this fiscal year, we do have an overall increase of 232,000. And then that increase projected for the remainder of the year translates to a total sales tax collection of 7.6 million. So just as a point of reference, we're projecting 7.6 for this year. Last year, we collected 7.3. So about a $300,000 increase compared to the previous year. Lastly, we have our quarterly investment report. This is page 2 of the investment report that's included in the board packet. I just wanted to highlight our investment portfolio. Through the month of June, we have $26 million in our investment portfolio. We have 99,000 of that in the demand account, which is yielding the lowest rate at 2.78%. 7.4 is in the money market account, yielding 5.22. And then the majority of our portfolio is in the investment pools. We have 6.9 million in Texas class at 5.25%, 11.5 million in Tex pool at 5.31. And then lastly, as I mentioned, that translates to having a fund investment portfolio of 26 million. And then our weighted average yield of our portfolio is 5.26. We traditionally compare that to the yield of a three-month treasury bill. We're performing higher than the treasury bill, which is currently at 5.22%. So we're basically performing pretty well with our investments. That covers the financials. If there's any questions.
Congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Need a motion? I'll make
Do we need a motion to accept this?
I'll make a motion to acknowledge.
To acknowledge.
Accept. Second.
I have a question.
Okay, you have a question?
So were you able to get signature or access to the accounting system or not yet?
No, so we did meet with the city finance department. We did request that we provide a policy with internal controls that I'm working on. So I'm pretty,
For GBIC?
yes. So yeah, we didn't have our own policy or internal controls. I am working on that, pretty close to finishing it up for your review if you like. And then, so they were requesting to submit that to the city. They're going to review it and then give us the okay to move forward and start handing over what we're requesting.
So was the decision to move the accounting to GBIC or for it to remain at the city?
To move it in-house to GBIC. That's correct.
And we did have a meeting with Ms. Helen this week, and she did let me know that she had already advised Lupe to go ahead and start working with Sal and releasing some of the things. She doesn't want to release everything only because of security reasons and cyber, afraid that, you know, we get hacked and we lose everything or the city loses everything. So she wants to keep those things in check, but otherwise she's open to Sal and Lupe working something out.
Which we did meet, and we're, I guess, doing what's needed to meet in the middle somewhere and move forward together.
So are we coming up with a plan to transition everything at one time? And if so, what's the timeline for that?
So that is the ask, right? The ask is
Yeah.
to take everything in. I'm not 100% sure if they're okay or agreeing with that.
I think that in the conversation we had with Helen.
Right.
Afterwards, that she is more leaning to doing it a little bit at a time so she can keep her controls and make sure it goes well. The city is scared of getting too much over to us in one time, because then they feel that they are fiscally responsible for what we do.
Unfortunately, that sounds logical to do it that way, but with accounting, it's like them doing some of it and us doing some of it is just going to create, I think, a little bit of confusion with respect to who's accounting for what. And so when we roll out taking over the accounting, in my view, it really should be an all or nothing, right? And so I think there's more conversation to be had with respect to the transition of taking over the accounting.
And we can bring that up too, because obviously we're still missing the HR portion of the agreement. And also I think some of the IT. So we still don't have a service agreement in place, you know, the rent of the building. I think we said they were gonna let them do human resources. I spoke to Ms. Perla Cepeda yesterday, and she was like, hey, Jerry, so where are you with the service agreement? Have they decided whether or not? And I said, well, we were supposed to have a meeting with Ms. Ramirez here, and that never materialized. So I'll turn around and ask Will if maybe we can start scheduling that again, and you can bring up all the accounting as well, which we were supposed to have a month ago.
We're still with the city on HR and medical insurance, right?
Yes, sir. But we don't have a service agreement as in place, that it expired last year, I think, November of last year, somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought
But
that
these,
We drafted and Will was working on the draft, but we haven't come to a
I'm
conclusion on it.
interested in that the medical and stuff is all fixed and it's
Yes, sir.
working now
Yes, sir. That's moved over to the city.
for everybody.
It is.
Okay, good. Welcome.
But we're still paying, right? Under the like, I know we don't have a current service agreement, but we're still paying, or we wouldn't have.
I
The
do
lawyer
want to clarify, there is an active service agreement that, to my understanding, expires either in February or March of 2025.
Okay.
More questions? Frank?
make a motion to acknowledge.
Ben, you good?
Yep.
Okay, I have a motion to acknowledge.
So moved.
We had
Yeah,
it?
the motion's already, out.
Okay, so,
Reaffirm.
I need all those in favor to say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, acknowledgement passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Villapando. Next item, discussion, consideration, and approval of 67,558 contract with Lamar Advertising for billboards across the valley by Ms. Alexa Perez.
Hello again. So, let me show you here a little bit. So the current budget that we have for billboards is $34,000 for this fiscal year. As I mentioned before, we haven't spent anything for that. The current billboard agreement is $67,000, 558. Yes, $67,558. And then the campaign length is 6 months for 5 billboards. So the proposed expense here is to use the $34,000 that we currently have to split the payment in two instead of doing it monthly. And in that way, we use the money in the budget that we have for this fiscal year. And then the second payment, we can just do it on the next fiscal year, which is 2025, for the total of the $67,000. Can you go to the next slide, Marlene, please? It's a little bit blurry because they gave me the PDF and this is what I was able to put. But this is the map, the current map of the billboards. I know that Marlene also included a copy in all of your, in all of the agenda, the current binder that you have. So there will be 5 billboards. The first one is by San Juan, the second by Mercedes and San Benito. The idea with these 3, it will be to promote the recruitment, relocation, and expansion in the Brownsville area. Then for the ones, in Brownsville, it will be the goal is to promote the retention and expansion of the current companies, specifically promoting and highlighting of the opportunities that GBIC offers for the job retention and job creation. And of course, as the overall of the 5 billboards, they are aimed to position GBIC as a one-stop shop for investing in Brownsville and advancing in business ventures. Go to the next slide, Marlene, please. I know you have the copies. I think it's a little bit easier to see it in the binders because here, these images are more blurry, but here you can see the 3 main billboards first, the ones that will be in Mercedes, San Juan, and San Benito. And then we will have the other 2, if you go to the next slide, Marlene, the ones that will be in Brownsville. The one that is on the Morrison Plaza, where is Home Depot, where above the Panda Express. And then the other one will be the one that is on the corner where the bowling it is, right there on Pablo Quisel and Morrison, across the bank. Now, the total investment, of course, that we'll be doing for 6 months. As I mentioned, this doesn't have to be for a year, 2 years. It's just, let's check it out. Let's see which ones are working, right? Will be the $67,000. We expect at least a 34 million of impression. And especially because we notice, and statistics shows that at least 71% of the people that are driving there take a look at the billboard, they take a look at the ads. And a good reason, of course, to use them is because the billboards will help us to reach a larger audience. In this case, we have 2 major ones, as we mentioned before, of course, the community, to know about GBIC, to understand what we do. But the second one, of course, which is the main one, all of our partners to take advantage of all the resources that we offer.
Explain total impressions. Is that total number of times it goes up, or is that?
No, it's the number of times that the billboards are going to be seen. So basically, every time, basically the number of people. So if you see them, that means that is 1 impression. if
So
you and
you're
your,
saying that, in week, 1.4 million people is probably gonna see this.
1.4, correct?
So that like
Those are
takes
the
into
views.
account the cars that drive.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
You should, I just thought of this. A lot of people don't know how to pronounce GBIC or they don't know what it is. I've heard them say so many weird things, so maybe that could be a marketing campaign, like how to pronounce it in the future.
Okay.
I've
Yes.
heard weird
And
things.
of course, we're not gonna say that you, like, we're gonna have the full logo, of course, yes.
Yeah.
100%, yeah, but you're right, thank you for making that comment, of course, I'll make sure I'll do something.
Something
Maybe like an animation or something funny online where you see Security Bronzeville Cities Corporation and then you see the GBIC and then you say GBIC is not, yeah, it's not GBIC, it's GBIC, right? So, yeah, something funny, okay, I like that.
So, done with this?
Oh, no, oh, yes,
Like, how do you gauge whether it's working?
excuse me, I didn't hear it.
How do you gauge whether it's effective? I mean, how do you measure that metric? The reason
Well-
I ask is because you're at 34,000 for this year. By the end of next year, you're gonna burn through the 34,000, so that means your budget's gonna have to be around 67
Mhm.
overall on a year to year. So when it comes time to make that commitment, how do you know that it's working or that it's worth the investment?
Of course, yes. So one of the things that I always like to do are the analytics, and I think I mentioned that during my first board meeting. Without analytics, everything can be just subjective, right? So we need to know how the things are working and if this is actually a good investment. So one of the things that I especially use are at least the QR codes, or either if they are not the QR codes, we can put like several codes on the billboards. And at least in that way, we know, okay, so we create a specific one for the one that is going to be in Mercedes, a specific one that is going to be for the one in San Benito. And through an app, it's called QR.io, we actually pay $9.97 per month for that one. We're able to see, okay, did the one in McAllen was scanned? Did the one in San Benito was actually scanned? How many views it had, how many clicks it had, because you can scan it, but if you don't click on it, if you don't make the approach of actually sending an email or contacting us, then it's not a lead to us, right? So it's not only about the scans, but also how many people purchase to it. So for those, at least a plan is to either put a QR code or another code in which we can track them. With the digital, I'm gonna be very honest with you, that's a little bit harder because the digital only lasts between 7 to 8 seconds. And so it is on the screen sometimes while the people are trying to scan it, the QR code already went off. Yes, that would be a little bit hard. So for that one, I definitely need to create a different strategy. But for the rest of them, it will be just one digital and the rest of them will be printed. So they call it the permanent bulletins. That's how they call it. Mhm.
So I can tell you I'm a billboard person. I believe in it because the logo says it. Did it work? Yes, it did. You're reading it right. So it catches you. But I can also tell you that selecting the right location is key to your
Yes.
question. How do you know? Well, how many calls do you get? How many businesses contacted you, right? So one of my things is on the digital. I'm not really a fan of the digital ones because I always ask them, how many more companies you have on that digital? I mean, they want to charge us $18,624. And someone will say, well, there's like 20 companies on there. Charging 20 companies times 18,000. Okay, and how long am I on there for? Because our span has to be, how did I catch it? So I can tell you digital, I'm not a fan of. Just my thoughts. And the other one is, I said where it is key. And who are you catering to? And so the one that's digital and it's right in the center of where Morrison is, that's more your shoppers. That's more your people coming and going to Target, the restaurants and whatnot. I don't have a problem with the one on the freeway because that's catching people coming, traveling, out of, coming into town, leaving town, going to Mexico, whatnot. I would ask that you reconsider the digital one. Again, do you know how many other customers they have on that digital?
Yes, so the digital is limited to 8 spots only. for 7 to 8 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And the only reason we included the digital, or that I included actually the digital on that one, is because there are not many billboards that have a good location or that were available right here in Brownsville. So the only available, it was that one, the one that it's on by Panda Express, the one that we were able to secure. Right now it's on hold, of course, until the contract is approved. And there was another one by Alto and Glory, but that one was also digital. So those were the only 3 available. That's why I picked both locations, because of this one, the digital, just because of the traffic. But of course, as I mentioned before, I wish this one will be a permanent. But I mean, we can always, of course, remove it from the contract. It's not a problem. We can try one in the meantime.
So I would recommend probably reconsidering that one. I don't see value in it. And saving that money for when you do test these other ones, that potentially another one becomes available, that it's a high visibility, 100 Padre Highway, big visibility areas where you're catering to that consumer that customer that we're looking for. I mean, that's.
Thank you,
A
Ms.
lot of
Oakley.
people stay on the island that come for business. They stay on the island. So those roads are also pretty good.
Okay, and
And they're
actually,
probably expensive, but.
the key location that we had at the island, that one is taken already, and we didn't receive them. And actually, it was my fault because I signed that contract when I was at the city, so now I'm gonna have to wait.
The one that's right there when you get to Port Isabel?
Yes.
It says visit Brownsville and it has
Yes.
tacos from
Yeah,
Texas.
that was me. Now I'm gonna have to wait until
Put your name
that one
on-
expires.
Put your name on those billboards because they do come up for renewal.
Yes.
And, because they do. Because once people figure it out, they capitalize on, they
Yes.
make their point. they
And
follow.
that one is a perfect location because you actually have the 3. You have the ones that are coming from Fresno's, the ones that are coming from the island, and the ones that are coming from Brownsville. So yes, I want that one, but now I'm gonna have to wait.
I have a similar comment.
Yes.
With respect to selecting the right place, right? And if
Correct.
our target audience is people that are not from Brownsville, that we would like for them to come and invest into Brownsville, then why would we advertise in Brownsville? They're already here, right? So in my opinion, I would leave Brownsville out of it and
But go back a few slides, show them what you could.
Sorry, can you please
You
go
had
go
different
back?
things.
Marty?
Yeah, you don't have.
The reason of putting this one in Brownsville is because, let me tell you why. I've seen this, I'm doing it more on the BRE side. Like I've seen that Joanna, she's been reaching out to a lot of companies. But to be honest, one person cannot reach like all the 100, the 200 companies that are here in Brownsville. So I did notice that if we put out there, because we need people even to apply for our incentives. We need people to come to our office and knock the door and ask us what are the resources that we have. So that's why I was putting Brownsville mainly for the communities that we are planning, the companies that we're planning to retain right here in it's more like on the retention plan, right? More than the recruitment. This is more retention, and the ones from San Juan, Mercedes, and Benito is more for recruitment. That's the idea, of course, but as I said, I mean, we can change depending on your vision.
And just to bring up another point, I think there's companies that Elazar and I talk to sometimes that they didn't even know we existed. That the company I met with today was actually, they went to SBA, and Daniela with SBA, they met with her last week. So she called me and she said, you know what, Jerry, I have somebody here that I think it's a perfect fit for you guys, but they don't know who Greater Brownsville is, they don't know who GBIC is, and they're actually coming from Matamoros, and they're trying to set up a business here. So I said, well, when are you going to meet with them again? So that was the meeting that I went to this morning, and they said, we didn't know who to go to. It wasn't until we met with Daniela about a loan for the property that she said, have you been to the Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation? So I think at least having maybe one or two in a strategic location, I think that also benefits us as well, because I think we need that exposure to the Mexico market.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, I wish there would be one at least like around 14th Street or around by the port, but there's nothing over there available, because I know that's where all of the companies are. But once one of them become available, of course, I would like to put a hold on them, and of course, bring it to all of you for review.
Can we switch from one billboard to another one if it
Oh,
becomes
yes, and I
available?
mean, we can change, I mean, if it is 6 months, we don't leave the same design. I mean, they take around 10 to 15 days for the production. So let's say that in the next month, we're gonna have a lot in the industrial park that is available. We can change the design, and that's what we're going to be promoting, and then the next one. And it doesn't have the same one in all of them. Mhm.
Yes, close to the
Yes.
bridge.
I'll make a motion.
So
to-
what, yeah, okay, with, a motion with the, changes that Anna wanted to make?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve, subject to Ms. Oquin's changes.
Correct.
I mean, she needs the ultimate authority to decide, right? Like, we're not holding her hand, we just are
No.
giving her advice.
Subject to Ms. Oquin's suggestions.
I mean,
Yes, we can make the changes, yes.
Can we get you, if we approve this, can we get your commitment that you're gonna be listening to Ms. Nanas?
Of course. And I
I
can,
will
can
make
send
sure,
yes.
I will make sure that it's deleted off the contract.
And we can send you the new contract, of course.
Yeah.
And the reason, of course, we bring them is because they only hold them for a week. So if we wait like till the next board meeting, they might won't even be available. But of course, as soon as we get, of course, your approval, we speak to them tomorrow, they update the contract, we request Jerry's signature, and of course, I can email the contract to all of you.
Yeah.
So no worries,
We'll make sure.
I
the
will keep my
changes-
promise, yes.
You could make a motion to approve it subject to legal review, and I'll make sure to get it approved by everybody, and then we can get the item approved.
Thank you.
That works.
I will amend my motion to approve, subject to legal review.
And I'll second that motion. And a second, any discussion? No discussions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, the motion passes, good work, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
What? Haven't even started my coffee yet.
All in favor?
Any discussion?
No.
No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, we are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Now speak freely.
Thank you, board.